Perfect.
Fingers almost got clicked. Almost got click-clacked. Click-clack, where are you and your men's at?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 32 of the Inside Real Estate Podcast. I'm Brian Castro, your host, and today we've got the Matt Gorham. How's it going?
There's not many people that want to be me, so yeah, I believe that I am the Matt Gorham. I'm having a good day. Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. What? How's business this year?
This year has been probably the most interesting one I've had in 19 years. It's been really awesome at certain times, and it's been really challenging at certain times too. One of the things that's challenging is watching the market decline and seeing people that I really respect and like really good agents having a hard time.
Totally.
That like, it breaks me a little bit. A lot of people I looked up to and still look up to just having a bad year, man. And it's tough.
I think a lot of people are going on bad year number 2 right now. What do you think?
I would agree.
What do you think that is? Is it the market or is it them?
I think the market is a contributing factor, but I think when the market changes, it exposes the habits.
100%. I think it's and for some, it's beating them down. You know, like I have clients that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were doing like 3-4 listings a week for them, right?
Okay.
And now last year we did like 6 whole year.
Yeah.
And they're not changing anything.
Yeah, if you don't adapt, you get left behind.
It's like anything, man. You remember 15 North in Westchester?
I loved 15 North.
Yeah, me too, man.
It was a great spot.
But that's when they went out was when Barnaby's came in and they didn't adapt. And I was like, shit, I love that bar.
I liked it too, man.
Yeah.
I used to go see Crystal Rocks in there. I mean, I'd have a good time.
Dude, Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice played there back in the day.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Well, what are you doing to stay above water right now?
You know, for me, I have a real estate team. I have 12 people in my organization and love all those guys. What I did was I have a couple of different buckets. We have a title company. Okay. We have a property management company. I have a handyman service company. And then my wife and I, we do flips. So for me, when I saw that there was less volume in the sales game, I had to shift lanes a little bit and I doubled down on the flip stuff. So you asked me, how am I staying above? That's been a great blessing to me this year. I lost for the first time on a deal this year on a flip.
Oh, no shit.
I had a good run going for some years and I lost for the first time. And then, you know, a week later we hit a home run. So it's just, they kind of even themselves out. But it's just, I would say just staying wider and I'm not stuck in one box. I've got multiple boxes.
I think that's a pretty smart way to go about it. So give us a little background on you. How'd you get into the real estate business?
Man, I think a lot of people have this story. Little book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And
you're the third person we've had on that brought up that book.
I had a business called The Deck Guy, and we had the toll-free number 888-DECK-GUY and deckguy.com, and we would start to franchise it in different towns. I didn't understand that was called building models. I didn't understand what that was or leverage. And I had a friend of my family came to me. He was a Navy SEAL. And Joel came to me and said, dude, you're selling yourself short in this contracting business. Read this book. I read the book and I didn't think I wanted to be a realtor at all. I think I wanted to stay banging my head against the wall, painting decks. Yeah. I figured that would just be something I would do in the winter when I was losing my employees, and I'd be some way for me to maintain employees. And instead, went to go get my license. Took it in 2 weeks, and if you know me, you know I go after something, I go real hard, and I'm real intense for as long as it takes. So in 2 weeks, I got took my 60 hours. And I started calling my boys during the breaks. Hey, guess what I'm doing today? I did not know that was called prospecting. Yeah. And the first year, bang, 13 deals. Next year, 24, then 30 something, then 40 something. And then I was like, oh, I'm on to something. I should probably get out of this deck business. Yeah. And that's when we made it a full-time career.
That 13 deals in the first year, that's not normal for everybody.
No, I was very blessed to do that, man. It was really cool. I attribute some of that to the fact that I had already run a business that some of my friends and my family had looked at as being successful. So they thought, okay, this guy's not a clown. This guy's done this. He's just trying to level himself up. And I was also at an age, you know, where that was, 26, 27, where a lot of my friends were going to be first-time home buyers. So they were more interested in helping their friend than going on the internet and hunting somebody down.
Okay.
So, I was and I treated them good, man. I'll never forget. I remember the first address I sold. I remember the first settlement I had. And it changed my life. It started changing my mindset. And I started to understand. I was like, man, this first check, that's a $5,000 check. My buddy Ryan Permani, Samantha Court, Chester Springs. I remember it and I was like, I just made $5,000 today. How many decks did I have to stay in to make $5,000? And I was like, and how much more impact was it for me to help my friend get somewhere he could live? Yeah. The impact, I thought it was going to be about money, and then it became about the impact of the people. And I was like, wow, this is like such an intimate thing for someone to trust you to go help them find a place where they sleep at night. Yeah. They're going to raise babies here. And the reverence in that was just like deep in my heart. And I got a high on that. Trying to help somebody, like trying to be Superman, it still gets me a little, that's my high, man. I'm not a drug guy. I'm not a smoke guy. I don't drink coffee. But like being somebody's
Can't
Superman,
join you on that one.
You imagine me with coffee, man? That'd be crazy.
No.
And that'd probably bring me down from what I hear.
Absolutely. So at what point did you realize that, like what point did that happen for you where you were like, it's not about the money, it's about the impact? And how far into the career were you?
2 deals in.
2 deals
It
in.
was really easy to understand. I knew how to make money at that point. I was doing okay with my other business, but what I thought was money, that's not really wealth. It was, I had a good job.
Okay.
I didn't own a good business. I owned a good job.
Okay.
And I was thankful for what I had.
So I'm sure you've carried that with you to today. That
Absolutely.
mindset.
Yeah.
How have you been able to expand on that and like maybe more systematized? Because now you have a team, right? Are you able to, like, I know a lot of people have teams, but it's just a bunch of people under a name, but they're all kind of going.
It's a club. It's not a team.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not unified. They're not unified
all
on a
doing their own
vision.
thing.
Yeah, and that's okay. And everybody, the one thing that's nice about real estate is there's a million ways to do it, and none of them are wrong.
Right.
Like, that's great. If you want to do that, you want to be an individual, God bless you. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
For us, one of the reasons that we wanted to get bigger is to create a bigger footprint. I'm going to steal this from my church. It's part of our mission. It was like, I want to make such an impact in the community now where if we were gone, we'd be missed. Like that is a real big thing for me. So now we can go wider. We can give bigger. We used to do the Chester County Food Bank. We bring 8, 10, 12,000 pounds of peanut butter and jelly in there. And it fed all these kids that didn't have school lunches in the summer and senior citizens.
Sure.
And like that was a big thing for us for a while. Now we partner with the United Way now. We throw an event in March every year, and we raise thousands and thousands of dollars on a Monday night at a pizza place, Leone's in Downingtown, who sponsors it, and we give all that money away. And it's like I couldn't do that on my own, and so getting bigger wasn't really about more profit. The profit margin actually shrinks sometimes the bigger you get. So for me, it was more about the impact in the community and the footprint.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's what you're doing with the team. That's how you're bringing impact. So you're kind of you're leveraging the real estate business to bring impact. So that's kind of more your mission, it sounds like, to do that, doing it through real estate.
I enjoy it. There's a lot of things you can do through real estate, you know, and I think that you can earn a very nice living. And I think if you're not thinking about the people in your community, then I think you're making a big mistake.
Okay.
It's a big mistake.
Yeah.
We often get oh my gosh, my last realtor didn't, think about that. I'm glad to be with you. We get people that call us because they see our mission. One of the goals we had, my wife and I, this year was to if we had sold a certain number of homes, to buy a home and then dedicate it to a domestic abuse victim. We've not hit that goal this year, but that goal will be hit, and that really resonated with people. We had a lot of people reach out to us and say, "Hey, I want to work with an organization that puts that kind of thing at the forefront and is not afraid to talk about it." It made my wife and I very uncomfortable and very vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it? How has that approach impacted the real estate side of things?
I know some agents that have referred me business in the past because the house is too ugly, or the price point's too this, or it's just a rental. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, I feel like God puts me in front of people, and if that's who I got to see, that's who I got to see. We actually have a $16,000 pending on our board right now for Habitat for Humanity. We're doing it pro bono. I have one for my kids' school that we're doing pro bono, and we double sided a $1.6 million house yesterday in Malvern. So we we do a lot of different things. We don't just judge who we're going to serve by the number.
Okay.
I think some people do. And I think some people say, hey, my time's worth this much an hour and blah, 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 blah. And I choose not to think that way personally.
I think the one thing that I'm trying to get at is, okay, everybody tells, like, okay, you get into real estate and your coaches or whatever, they all try to tell you, hey, become the mayor of your town, go out, be part of the community. And I think a lot of people go at it, from the mindset that they're looking for that. They're doing it they're
doing to suck out, not to push in.
Right.
I see that all the time.
Right.
And usually it lasts for 6 months or 12 months or 16 months, and then they get exhausted and they don't get fruit for what they thought was coming.
Well, I don't think it works as well either because
it's not authentic, man.
Right. Right.
It's just not real.
So with that, like, if you're going at it from that perspective, probably, I've seen a lot of your social media and those type of things. Like, it's not this hard sell or anything like that. And it's like, do you think it helps bring in more business? Because not because you're doing it for that purpose, just for that purpose, but do you think it helps the business because you're doing the right things and being authentic and going after good stuff?
I think it helps the business, but I think the way it helps it the greatest is attracts the right talent to the organization. I have agents in our organization that are they are in alignment. And when you're in alignment on things like giving back and what are you going to spend your time on, and you better not miss your kid's soccer game, or I'm going to cut you off my team if you miss this kid's soccer game. That's our standard. And so it attracts people that I want to be in business with.
Right.
And that, I would say, is the greatest benefit.
That's awesome.
Outside of doing other things.
How big are you guys?
We're 12 people right now.
12 people. When did you start the team?
About 4 years in, when I was talking about that a little earlier, I got to the point, my son Matthew, who's turning 22 in 2 days, came home from his Christian school and said, Dad, you're trying to be omniscient. I was like, what? What's that mean? I had to look it up. He's like, you're trying to be everywhere all the time. Yeah. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, I was missing stuff. I was not a great husband. I was not following God the way I should. I wasn't being a great dad. I was trying to get my business going great. But that wasn't enough, and that wasn't the right place to spend my time.
Right.
And so I said, "Wow, I've really got to make a change here. I need to think about the things that I don't want to do or I'm not as good at, and put them on someone else." Some people love paperwork. That ain't me. Like, I love people that love paperwork, and I will hire them, and I will pay them, and I will treat them lovely. Yeah. But that's just not for me. And so I found some people that were great. I've heard this guy's name mentioned a couple of times, Ed Fordyce. He was our team leader at Keller Williams. And I said, Ed, I need an admin really bad. And he found me this phenomenal woman, Ellie Egan. She was great. She's become a real close friend of mine, and her family's close with me. But she changed my world. Like, I was doing 40 deals, no problems, all good. And I was never going to hit 100 without a who. And so we had the right who there. And that was we had a really good run for a long time. Okay.
So a lot of people think about starting a team. They kind of just think it's just, collecting a group of people and then it's going to go. What did you learn along the way as far as like building it? Like, what did it look like when you first started bringing people in? Did you bring in a couple? Was it just one and it was two of you for a while, or how did it go? Like, talk about it.
Yeah. So for me, it was about the need. I had enough business and leads in my bucket that I couldn't handle them the way I wanted to. Like, we talked about trying to give back and give good servanthood. I couldn't give my A+ customer service anymore, but yet people were in line to want to work with us. And I was like, man, I gotta figure this out. What I did was I followed the models. The Keller Williams is that Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Look, hire an admin. So I just followed what someone else was doing that I wanted to do. At first I was like, wait a minute, okay, who's doing 3 million? I want to see what they're doing. And I followed their habits. Then I found somebody that was doing 10 million. And I was like, okay, can I talk with you? Will you share with me what I do? And I followed their habits. Then it was 20, and then it was 50. Right now I'm trying to seek out 75 or 100 million habits. And I was able to just not overthink it. So, first admin, I think the first thing is an admin.
Okay.
There's no question about that. I had a really great agent on my team, Trevor Williams. He's no longer on my team, but he did a fantastic job. He started part-time, and he went out there and just killed it for a lot of years for us. And he was fantastic. And then it got to to talk about missing kids' games. And I was like, wait a minute, we need someone to show houses. Like we can't. Right. He had little kids. I had little kids. It was not a good thing. So we brought a gentleman on our team named Steve Turner. He's been with me 11 years now. And he's a retired guy, and he just wants to go out and show houses. Clients come back to us now and say, can you just have Steve work with me? Because he's a good human being. He's not trying to sell you anything. He just wants to help. And right now, over the past few years, we talked about how hard the market was. House pops on the market, and it's gone in 24 hours. Well, I have a full-time guy to make sure you get in the door. You have to jump on a lot of people. It really is a difference maker for us.
Yeah. So you're not getting a lot of, I mean, you're getting people that actually stick, because a lot of people have teams that I see as like a big revolving door.
Some come and go, like I was unfortunate to lose Trevor. He went on to things that he wanted to do, and I've lost some other really talented people. Yeah. And and it's okay. Like sometimes I'm hugging them on the way out the door most of the time. It's most of the time. It depends on how you leave. Yeah. Depends on how you leave. If you leave with grace and with the same culture you came in, we'll hug it out forever. Yeah. And so, but that's not a problem for me. Our transaction manager, Donna.
We just had her on before Mike.
Did you have her on? Okay. Right, well, one of the, we have a thing on our team every Friday. Instead of a mastermind, we have a mastermind.
Oh,
see what I did? And we talk about wealth building, starting businesses, wills, estates, stuff. I care about my people. I want them to have wills for their kids. I want them to have all that stuff set up. Like we can't forget those things as leaders. And that's really an important thing for me as the team lead. So Donna came to me one day and said, I want to start this transaction management company. And instead of me saying, screw you, get out the door, I was like, can I invest in it? And she was like, no, immediately no. And she and I we're having lunch today. Like she's still a big part of our organization and our life and our culture. And you don't stop someone from trying to grow.
No.
And I think that's if I don't continue to raise my leadership lid and open up opportunities for the people in my organization, they're going to go. Right. So most of the time that someone has left my organization, I have to look back at me and say, where did I fail this person? And I have learned some really good lessons in the last 5 or 6 years, losing some people I didn't want to lose. And I've also gained some people that I never thought I'd be able to gain. Mm-hmm. So it's not all negative, believe me. No. But there's a lot of lessons that I've learned. If you lose somebody and you made a mistake and you don't learn from it, then shame on you, man. And I choose to try to learn from those so I don't make them twice.
Yep. How much did you always have that kind of leadership approach, or is that something you grew into?
Not at all. It was shotgun approach, man. I didn't have a tight aim on something. It was rapid fire. I knew that I was having trouble leading people on a micro level because I'm a go get it done. I'm high energy, dude. I'm like, dude, I don't fool around. Like, I always say like, hey, the crackhead found crack today. Don't tell me you can't find a real estate deal. Like, stop it. You're more skilled than the crackhead.
There's a soundbite.
There you go. Take that. Take that. And there's another one. But it's something that, I want to make sure that I'm consistently trying to get better. If I don't try to level myself up, the people around me are not going to follow what I say. They're not going to believe what I say. And when I got to the point where I knew I couldn't micro lead agents, I knew I needed a director of sales. I have Eric McGee on my team, who's a director of sales, and his job, we basically have an internal coach. A lot of companies have coaches, brokers have coaches, but I have one in my house. So like I have a new agent or something, they know they can call him almost too many hours a day that he answers the phone, and they have the support they need. So it helps them grow. So the question was, how did you grow the team? Well, I've grown it from need. So I needed an admin. I needed a buyer's agent. I needed a showing partner. Now I need a director of sales. I need agents. I needed a social media person. I need like those kind of things. I think about the need. I do a needs assessment, and I consistently on my phone have a what do I hate list consistently. And I look at things. It's really helpful. My wife and I go over it. I think about it with the leadership. Like who can I pass that to? Who would be blessed by that? We have 2 people in the Philippines that help us with stuff, and they're awesome. They're like family too. And I'm like, please take my text messages today, and I'll just forward my texts all day long. And Vincent can have those because I need to not be as distracted as I'm very distractible clearly. So I need to. I realize that, and let me pass this today.
Okay.
That's so I grew the team out of need.
Okay. Do you read?
Not a lot. Today I did get into some Proverbs. I'm not a biblical scholar by any stretch, but a really wise guy that kind of mentors me a little bit was like, hey, look, on the first of the month, read Proverbs 1. On the third of the month, read Proverbs 3. And today was about wisdom. And I was like, oh, crap. It's about how you should listen to your parents. And the parents, you're supposed to give wisdom to your kids. And you better listen to your parents, or else you're going to, all the fun stuff that happens in some biblical, passages. Yeah. But I would say I can do some audiobooks. My attention span is so short that it takes me a great amount of time to read even a chapter of a book, like a great amount of time. I might have to read it 15 to 20 times to really take it in. It's very hard for me. I can do some audio books.
I guess where I'm
but it's tough, man.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Any other books that you can think of that you like, that were like impactful for your business?
Yeah. I'm not trying to be Captain Keller Williams, but the shift book was really a good one for me. The
I
shift
remember
one
those
was really
two
interesting.
books. I don't know if you know, I got my license back when everything tanked, 07, 08.
I remember that time.
Yeah. And I was with KW when I had my license.
Loved it then.
Yeah.
That was great.
There was the first two books. I was like, oh, let me read these suckers.
That shift book, it's it just makes sense.
Still applies.
And and I'm fortunate enough to be in Gary's like top however many hundred mastermind. Like there's probably 400 in the company in there. And I go in there, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. And we're still talking about some of those truths. Mm-hmm. And the facts are like too many people in real estate try to reinvent something. And sometimes you just go back to what is the truth. You act on it. You build your models around it. And you do your best that way. I don't think that the real estate is not as complicated as we want to make it. We need to be in conversation with people, in relationship with people. We need to create influence with people. Like my agent's job is to go make friends. Their job is to go make friends.
Yeah.
In such a way that they have commonality with their friends, that they want to be, that they can be trusted. Yeah. That's a pretty cool job.
Yeah.
I
do think though that, I mean, it's funny you bring that up. Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel. No. But I think agents a lot of times, like, they hear the phrase like rip off and duplicate kind of thing, but they don't do it. They do it in a way that's like, they'll take the 10% that's the easiest piece that's not the effective piece.
It doesn't give you a round wheel.
Right. And then that's what they go after all the time. And, it's the agents that we're seeing right now that are having the most success are not like the usual suspects. They're the young, hungry ones, or people that are seasoned agents like yourself that are actually going out and like putting in the work, right? And not being like, hey, we're going to hibernate until the market changes. It's like the market's not going to, it may never go back to what it was, but it also, even if on paper it's what it was, everything's operating differently. Like,
that's right.
So I mean, it's right. Like you need to take the downtime to grow.
That's a big thing. Gary Keller's been sharing that with the room for a couple of years. He thinks we're in a real estate recession. He thinks we're 2 years into a 4-year real estate recession. That's his take on it. He's done okay in real estate. So I tend to listen to the guy. And he said, look, you guys, he told us this 2 years ago. He said, you guys are going to have to work 2 to 3 times as hard to make the same money. And some of you guys that are leading teams, you're going to have to get back into production, even though you don't like it. It sounds sexy to say I'm no longer in production. Yeah. And God bless you if that's who you are, and that's who you want to be. But some of you guys are going to have to put the boots on, go do some more listing appointments, and figure this out.
Yeah.
And I would say that one of the things that my team appreciates about me is that I've never taken the boots off. I don't ask them to do anything that I'm not willing to do. I'm still going on listing appointments. I'm still going out there trying to prospect and work hard. When times get tough for us, I don't cut hard costs. I don't cut marketing. I don't cut people. I cut myself. I took myself off of salary this year from January to July because we were not fiscally in a phenomenal position. And I'm very fortunate to have those other buckets like I talked about earlier. My rental properties, my wife and I have 43 doors. So like I can collect from those, and that I can still eat. My kids are doing just fine. But I'm not going to cannibalize my business because of a market. And I'm not going to put their lives at jeopardy.
Right.
And I'm never going to do that. They know that I never cut. I added people because talent was more abundant to acquire. I think that where some people fail, they just start cutting, and then they don't cut their salary at all as the leader.
No.
They're like, oh no, I'm getting mine. Well, maybe you're not making profit because you're not leading well, and maybe you don't deserve that stinking salary.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, it's like, oh crap, what am I doing? Oh, I'm paying my employees with an equity line or a credit card. Yeah, I ain't playing that game.
Yeah.
Not my people are too valuable for that, and their lives are too important.
Yeah. Give me a story that about how you were able to like get over the hump in a rough real estate market.
I almost interrupted you a minute ago when you said, hey, I got in the business during the crash of 07, 08.
Yeah.
So that was when my business actually catapulted. That's when I started hitting really good numbers. And the reason why you talked about some agents were hibernating and they're just sitting there like, oh, I'm just going to wait this one out. It's no big deal. They're in the ocean and well, that's a big wave. Instead of learning how to swim at the wave and saying, wow, man, this is salt water. It's good for my skin.
Right.
They're just like, I'm out. I'm going to go hide.
Yep.
So their business was open for grabs. And I was out there not singing the blues because honestly, I wasn't blue. ADD is a beautiful thing. I forget who said no to me on a listing appointment in the last month. I forget them all. And it's a great thing sometimes. So I'll tell you that I was in that position where I was not singing the blues. I was out there working. In my social media, I never said, oh, what a bad month I had. But some people were.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed their clients and I never gave them back.
No.
And so we built our database like crazy during that time. And we just told people the truth. People were afraid. During negative times, people were afraid to talk about the truth. Right now the market it's harder. Yeah. If you want to sell your house and you got a 3% rate, do you really want to go get a 7? I don't. I get that. So helping people understand that you're not just, oh, the best day to buy was yesterday. Yeah. or whatever it is. Or today's even better. And that is true fiscally. If you're going to hold on to real estate long term, I'm a big believer in that. But like cut the crap out and just, tell the truth to your people. Be the economist of choice. Help them understand what you interpret is going on. Help them make educated decisions and don't cry about it. Your job is to interpret the data and interpret the market, not to cry about it. Who wants to work with a whiner? No. and so our business took off, and I got some builders during that time that other people were just, I can't possibly sell these new homes. I can. Let's go. Yeah. And I'll tell you the truth about where we really need to price them and whether we need to give points on the mortgage or whether I was coming with solutions instead of victim talk. Yeah. How have you ever found yourself in a position where you're maybe okay, a seller comes to you, right? And they tell you they are, they're thinking about selling, whatever, and they tell you their situation, and that potentially maybe there's some advice that doesn't that potentially turns them off of selling the house that you give them. Do you still give that advice, or every time? And when we go out to a listing presentation, I have a different mentality, and this is something that's changed as my leadership lives. I go there and I wonder, should I buy this house? I think about that first, and then I think about, can I control the house? Okay, is there something I can do to add value? Can I go and flip the house for them and sell it for them? Or can I list it? Well, what's the best thing for them? What we do is we offer a menu of services. Everybody doesn't want to just list the house for 6%. Some people might want a cash offer. Well, we can give you a cash offer. We also have a program that we will come in, we will make all the repairs on our dime, raise your price, which raises our commission, and all of a sudden you're the hero in the neighborhood instead of being a little embarrassed about selling your house. You get more money, we get more money, everybody's cool. And we did it with our money. And so I just try to give people options. So, and sometimes, I have a listing appointment tomorrow, and I asked the woman first, I said, are you sure you don't want to rent this house? It's funny you bring that up. Because, man, it might be better for them. And I said, look, I'm going to come to you tomorrow with a couple different hats, and I'm not going to bring any contract with me. I'm going to come with my listing hat. I'm going to come with my property manager hat also, because I own a property management company. That's why you have more buckets. Now I have more options to give them. And now I'm not pigeonholed into just commission. And now I'm not serving dollars. I'm serving the person. It's funny that you brought up hey, maybe you should rent this house. That in itself is I don't know. I mean, in a lot of cases,
if you're in a position to do it, it probably makes sense to do that.
It really,
you know what I mean?
It really can.
And we talked with an agent. Where was she? Colorado Springs, I think. And her husband do they own doors too. And she was explaining, she's like, everybody that we sit down to potentially sell their house, we're asking them, hey, is this? They bring it up to all of them, and I said, how many of those people are like surprised by? She said about 99% of them.
Yeah, they're all surprised. They think you're coming in to car sell them and to just tell them how great you are. That's what every realtor, they all go in and say how amazing they are and how their company's the best company and how they have some secret weapon that no one else has. And if you just get real with them and ask them what's best for you, it's very refreshing.
And it brings down the guard, everything.
I told this woman, I'm not even bringing a contract with me. I said, I'm not going to sell to you. If we choose to work together, you're going to know I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not wearing a 3-piece suit tomorrow. I'm not driving a $700,000 car. I'm just going to come up and I'm going to be me. So don't worry. I'll see you at 2:30 tomorrow, and we'll go through things and we'll figure out what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, man. That's what I'm going to do. And if it doesn't benefit me to list that house, or doesn't benefit her to list the house, then I won't.
Yeah.
You know.
So you mentioned that of your menu of things like that you can come in and do the repairs, kind of like some companies we don't need to promote that are out there that do, you know, like you come in and do it, and I guess it's taking care of its settlement, right? Is that something that you do, or you work with partners for that, or
I have full time. See, I have the handyman bucket, so I've got 2 guys that work for me full time. So for my selling clients and to get the house ready for market, boom, done. I had someone in Downingtown call me on Friday. Monday, I'm having their house painted. I don't play around. I have people that are ready to go. So that really helps. And then I have a general contractor or 2 that I like to work with. They recognize that I give them a tremendous amount of volume, and they take good care of my clients. And then, we will mark that up a little bit to cover it. We will put in our listing contract that we are getting paid at the cancellation of the listing contract or at closing, whichever is first.
Okay.
And then we will place a lien on the house if necessary.
Yeah.
So, yep.
How often do sellers take advantage of that service?
Probably about 10% of the time.
Okay.
If I had to think back, and sometimes it's just a small thing. It's like, hey, can you just throw carpet in this house? I don't know what color to make this carpet. You're not going to choose something stupid because your commission's on the line.
Right.
That's correct. I will not choose a stupid carpet.
Yeah.
And then I call my guy. I'm like, yo, dude, same carpet we put in everything here at this address. And he shows up in 2 days and it's just done. It's overwhelming to some people.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just not.
Is it more when you're doing that, are you finding more often that it's like an upgrade to get more money, or is it a repair type situation to get it up to speed to where it needs to be?
It's more get it up to speed.
Okay.
It's more get it up to speed. Sometimes we'll throw granite in there real quick. And people act like that's some complicated thing. I can have that done in 5 days. From template to install, man. My guy Jeremy's the man, and he'll handle it. But I think that most people get stuck, and they're like, moving's a lot. There's a reason I have a job, because moving sucks. And all of a sudden, they don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do that. And I have these people, I'm like, I can just make it all go away. We're doing one in Unionville right now, nice $1 million house, and we're going to replace all the carpet for them, get the painters in, and just do some standard stuff. But in $1 million house, that's $12,000 worth of carpet. And the guy has the money to do it, but he just doesn't want to deal with it. Yeah. He's willing to pay a premium for a service.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm sure there's services that you pay a premium for.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever pay for the valet parking? Do you ever pay
coffee?
Yeah, I see you got a Starbucks, man. You didn't get the cheap cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
People are willing to pay for that.
Yep.
That's why a Lexus exists. Toyota said people are willing to pay for more.
Yeah. Money is only an issue in the absence of value.
Ooh, I love that. When I'm on a listing appointment and someone's like, "Oh, this other agent said they'll do it for 3%." I'm thinking about the days before we had to offer buyers. They'll do it for 2%. I'm like, hey, take a wild guess how much work they're going to do for you for that money. If they can't take care of their own family and defend their own value, how are they going to defend you in a negotiation?
Yeah. When that NAR stuff happened, and I had an agent that was telling me that he was looking forward to being able to, basically like the race to the bottom. Like he was like, I think that agents shouldn't have to pay me, or sellers shouldn't have to pay me 10 grand for this. And I was like, I could do it for like 2 or 3. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Why?
But it's like, I honestly think, but it's just the mentality is like,
his value proposition, he didn't believe in his own value proposition.
Yeah,
you have to believe the value proposition.
Or I don't know, man. I just don't get. But that was crazy.
It's sad, but whenever the market changes, there's always the bottom feeders. I don't want to. There's a couple of discount brokers
I don't want
right
to trash
here.
anybody. And the person is super nice guy. But it's like,
My dog.
what are you thinking?
So you're celebrating that you aren't worth what you're worth.
You're
celebrating it.
Well, I
That's
think
silly.
Yeah, and I think the mentality was it's like they now think that they can. No, their brokerage isn't going to say, hey, you need to. They're going to be able to go into a listing appointment and get more listings because they're going to have the ability to cut themselves short, essentially. Yep. And it's just like, what are you doing? But
that's true, man. That's interesting, and it makes me think about Connor over here, man. Like, his grandparents' house, we sold it. We did a renovation on that thing to get it sold, and we got the best number on the street in a long time. And it was just a tired old kitchen, and the walls weren't opened up. We opened it up the way his grandfather wanted it to always be. And honestly, I think it was very moving for him to see it look really awesome and to pass it off to the next person in a great condition. Yeah, that has to feel good when it was your generational home. It was you grew lots of babies in this house. Yeah. And now you're handed to somebody in really good shape. That's peaceful to a seller.
Oh, totally. I can see that. All right. Impact aside, because I know that's a big thing for you that you were talking about. But let's just keep it within the real estate bubble. What's your favorite part about the business?
My favorite part is that there's so many ways that you can earn a living in it. And there's so many different ways to impact people. I know that, but impact for me is different. So that's impact outside, right? You asked me to be internal. Yeah. So for me and my team and my leadership, like my job is to create revenue streams for my team. If I have agents that are collecting money, they're able to earn money by using our title company, earn money by doing this and that. Do you think they're much less likely to leave if I'm giving good value and it matches what they want? Yep. For some people, I'm teaching some people on my team, how to flip homes right now. Our director of sales has done a few now. He's made considerable revenue, and he thanks me for it regularly. This Friday, our mastermind is at one of my flips. I'm going to show everybody what it looks like, and I'm trying to empower them. And so that's value. Like that for me, just the fact that you can be a Swiss Army knife and do a bunch of different things is really, really fun. I find a lot of solitude that my wife and I could just shift lanes this year and we had to double down on some of the flips and things like that because that's where the revenue is. And it didn't, because I look at some agents who are struggling, and they didn't have that lane to shift. Yeah. I could hit the blinker, get over to the right lane. And it's not the lane I, want to stay in forever, but it's a lane that's viable. And so I would say that's probably my favorite thing.
What's the most memorable or crazy deal you've had this year?
Ooh, this year.
Something that's just sticking with you.
I would say losing on the flip for the first time. It's the one that comes to my mind first.
Yeah.
I know that I've had some drama. I know that, but I try to let that out. And I don't internalize drama and I don't internalize things that didn't go the way you wanted them to.
What happened with
this
that
one?
Flip?
This house was vacant for like 5 years. The people that owned it literally had a pet bear chained to a tree and chained to poles in the basement.
What?
Not when I bought it, but previously. The township didn't care about that at all. That was no big deal. The grass up to the windows, no big deal. Let's let that guy go. I go in there with a dumpster without a permit, and they decided that today's the day we're going to create war with Matt. And it got to the point where they just delayed me on everything. We had a framing inspection, and okay, great. They did the framing inspection. We did the drywall. Okay, they came out for the drywall, and we were like 2 screws short on one sheet. And my guy was like, "Let me just throw 2 screws in." And he's like, "Nope, I need you to pull it all off. Make sure you didn't change the framing." And I'm like, "That's cool, man. You didn't get laid in high school, and now you want to pick on me. That's great." And I just had to take it like a gentleman, and I thought about lawyering up and getting really messy. And those delays, oh, sorry, yeah, I know I inspected the drywall yesterday, but we can't come back for 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, I know we approved that porch, but now it's in the setback. So I need you to dig new footers underneath the one that we've already approved. So it just got really ugly that way. Yeah. We chose to just continue to do the right thing by the house so that we can pass a good product on to the person. And we lost $35,000, and my integrity is worth that. And the brand of our company is worth that. And the person that was willing to pay for the house is worth us not cutting a corner just because we were not making money. We knew we weren't making money 90 days prior to close. So some people would have probably cut the corners and not done this. We did it right. And that's, I'd mention later, like the next week we hit a home run. Like, maybe that's just by doing the right thing. I don't know.
Keeps you grounded when that stuff happens.
Oh man, that was the first one. I'll never forget it.
How many have you done? Ballpark. 50. Okay.
Something like that.
Out of 50, that's your first one.
That's right.
That's good.
It's a good ratio.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't believe in, when I run a margin on something, I make it pretty safe.
Yeah.
Margins don't have to be big, but I make sure that big things are thought
funny.
of.
Yeah. Funny story, when I had my license, we sold it. It was this house in the neighborhood in Westchester. And it was this is when stuff was taking like a while. This was a FSBO. We picked him up. And he was this guy, did amazing work, right? Like he was like a builder, the quality of the workmanship was great, right? But this house, basically it was new construction minus the foundation. The foundation he kept, but over improved the house. And
that's a dangerous thing, man.
Yeah, it was the nicest.
That's where most flippers fail.
It was the nicest house on the block. He did all this, and he'd also been working on it for like 2.5 years. So he was his own like worst enemy. I think he lost on almost every single deal that he did, but yeah, I mean,
people always say, "Oh, Matt, you must have made a killing on this thing." I said, "Well, do you know what my holding costs are? Do you know what the insurance is on a vacant house? It ain't the normal insurance, okay? It's way more. And the cost of money and the cost of time is something that people don't equate. They just do their spreadsheet. It's going to cost me 10 grand for windows and 10 grand for this. Yeah. And but they don't ever think about the ancillary things. Mm-hmm. And that's where people fail, or they try to make it too cute.
Yeah.
If they go, you don't need to make it perfect. We don't put a awesome backsplash in every one of our homes because we're not finding that we're getting more money that way. And we find that that's something that sometimes tastes specific.
Yeah.
And so there's certain things we just don't do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because some people can't get it right and some people get it right all the time, or 50-1. Or 49
I like that ratio. Yeah, I like the ratio.
That's what you're
we
at.
had some that aren't great, but but losing, that was the first time we lost. Yeah. And that's that was good. I call that an education expense.
Yeah, sure.
You could sit there and whine about it, but I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So you're not shy. Everybody can see that.
What do you want to know? Favorite color's blue.
No. Yeah.
My license plate on my truck says Dallas sucks. What do you need?
Oh, does it really?
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Or Dallas socks. Dallas sex. One of those three.
When did the call the ball guy marketing come into play?
Man, my wife came up with that one, man. I got to give Amanda some props. I was like, man, I'm not doing the comb over. In fact, this is like the most hair I have all year long. And that was probably, I would say, about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. It was just like, you own it. We were fortunate enough to get the 610 ball guy phone number.
Yeah.
I just called it over and over again until someone would answer the stupid phone. And then we really didn't get anybody to answer the phone. We called Verizon. They wanted to upsell us on something. I'm like, hey, I want this freaking phone number. No one's answering it. I want it, or I'm going elsewhere. And found out it was like in a trunk of numbers in some call center in Exton, and they got me the number. And so now I'm gonna have to pay my home phone number. It is my quote unquote home phone number now.
Yeah.
610 ball guy.
Wow.
And then calltheballguy.com was
so
just kind of a funny thing.
So that's how you approached getting it.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, and I learned that in my deck business. I had that number 888 deck guy, and that meant, dude, it was so easy to market yourself with the phone number at that time. No one ever said, "What does that guy do? He's a deck business. It's like 4847 blah 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 blah." Dude, that doesn't stick. 888 deck guy's easy. I can remember it. And so I thought that's a lesson I learned in that business, and I try to put it in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. It just makes sense. If you can make something catchy, it's also broker agnostic. So if I go to another place, I can be 610 ball guy.
Yeah.
Trying to brand that instead of
but you
something else.
You own the shit out of it. It's funny.
It's just what I am, man. It's who I am.
Yeah. I remember the first video I saw you. I'm like, what?
610 ball guy, how old your boy?
Did he just say that?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I get people, I'll be in the Wawa, but ball guy, and okay, you didn't throw anything at me, so that's good. But, it's catchy, it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, and nobody gets hurt by it. Some people, man, I'm fortunate to have a good shaped head.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Your time's coming.
Yeah, it's coming there, brother. Oh, yeah. That comb over's soft. It's bombed out and depleted.
Oh man, I should shut my mouth.
Man, you got a thick head, man. You got good flow.
Yep. All right. How are we going to end up this season? The
Eagles? Man, I was not a believer until the Rams game. I thought that maybe we were just beating some scrubs. Jacksonville was not a great win. Cleveland was not a great win. That was one of the worst wins we've had ever. It felt terrible. The way we lost to Atlanta, I hated leaving the stadium that night. That sucked. I hope we don't overlook Carolina this week because that could really derail us. We've got Detroit. We need them to lose to Green Bay on Thursday. So I feel like the team is coming together. It looks like a freaking unified group of dudes that are having fun together. Isn't that powerful? Like you talk about a real estate team. Yeah. Okay. What's their? Are they unified and doing well? Yeah. Is my team unified and doing well? If someone's not unified on my team, then I got to put them on the practice squad or something like that, right? So like the Eagles just look like their culture is awesome.
It looks like it's getting there. I wasn't sold in the beginning of the season. I was ready to get rid of the coordinators and like get them out. Dude, they suck.
Yeah, man.
But now I'm not 100% there, but I'm getting closer.
That Baltimore game was a pretty good indicator. But we let that game could have went the other way. Lamar missed a couple throws for sure. And it really could have went the other way.
I'm glad we started kind of crappy though. Because anytime a Philadelphia team starts good, I always get nervous because then they're going to shit the bed at the end of the season.
Yeah, but they need some Sharman sometimes.
But yeah, I don't know what I don't know. We'll see.
I'm excited. It's a fun run.
I think I feel better than we did last year.
Pittsburgh's a real good test for us. I think that's a really tough test, and that's 2 weeks from now. And man, if we're home field, we could be going to Louisiana, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Go Birds, baby.
All right, so we ask every one of our clients to send us off with a positive message to the world.
A positive message to the world?
Yeah, man, you're on Spotlight.
Dog, that's a heavy one, man. The world's a big place. If you want the people in your life to grow, I want my marriage to grow, I want my parenting to grow, I want whatever to grow, I want my team to grow. You better freaking grow. If you stay in the same lane, you're gonna get there the same way. And I think that trying to challenge yourself and thinking bigger than what you're thinking right now is the biggest thing to hold you back. Mentally, people don't think that they can do more than what they're doing, or they're okay being mediocre. That's not okay for me. People that have caused me to be mediocre in my life have not lasted in my life. And some of those have brought a lot of pain to me. And I would just say, don't be okay with mediocrity. Just try to be your best self. Vision what can you be, and how can you help people. And one of the things that I do in my family, with my wife and I, we have this list of places we want to go with the kids at certain ages. Like we were like, okay, when the kids are this age, we might try to hit Disney if I still like their politics or I don't like their politics. And then we might go here and we might go there. And we try to think about that all the time. It's a fluent list for us. We think about that. We also have a calendar that is, we map out our year with our vacations and we put our personal time and our family time first, and all the other stuff gets filled in around it. So I think those are some tools that have been valuable in my life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it.
It's fun.
I didn't know what you were like. Pretty cool guy.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Even my ex-wife hired me to sell real estate.
He's been telling me since he started with us that we got to get Matt in here. So I'm glad.
That's really cool, man. It was a real pleasure getting to know you too, man. Absolutely. I'd like to get to know you better. So Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Matt. Cool.